Welcome back to Run Faster. Today we are going to tell you how to pick a running shoe.
As we explained in the last video, the running shoe is the most important piece of equipment that you can own. Now there's all different types of technology and different types of shoes that work for different individuals, and today we'll be explaining exactly how to pick the one for you. Obviously the running shoe is the most important piece of equipment that you can use in the sport of running.
Alright, so let's take a step back now and talk about the two most important functions of a running shoe. The first one's going to be shock absorption. The shoe is designed to reduce the impact your foot takes when it lands on a harder surface. You know, if it's going to be a trail, it'll be the softest, but most of the time a lot of you are going to be running on pavement. You know, generally whenever you can get on a softer surface, we strongly recommend you get there. It's going to help your body keep healthier, you know, from breaking down, so you can train more consistently. And so unfortunately over time the rubber in your shoe is going to compact and it's going to lose the ability to absorb the shock like it was intended to in the first place.
Exactly, and that cushioning system in that midsole will break down over time, so it is important to swap out new shoes and constantly keeping yourself updated with not only the latest technology, but keeping your body healthy.
Exactly. The second primary function, as we've kind of leaned into a little bit, is the level of support or the ability to correct your level of pronation that the shoe might have.
Right, and that's something that's really important to understand, exactly how your body works. The shoe's not meant to correct you at all. The shoe's meant to conform to your body and how it works, to make you more efficient.
So let's talk a little bit about what your feet might do that might make you need that kind of support. Let's talk about pronation first of all, because a lot of you might not know what that is.
Yeah, the pronation is where your foot plants and rolls inwards. Now, you see traditionally a lot of support on the inside, a posting, as you will, and that it was designed in order to stop your foot from crashing in. Science has developed and realized that it's actually more important just to slow down that reaction time. So instead of your foot crashing in, it comes in slightly, allows your whole skeleton, musculoskeletal system to react and bring you back to where you want to be.
Which I mentioned a little bit in my Nike Lunar Glide shoe review, which it'll be somewhere up here and then also in the link below.
Right.
So to tell if you might be a pronator, first of all, you can look at the pairs of shoes you already have. You might see on the inside you have a lot more wear and tear on the inside of your current shoe. Looking at
the inside of your current shoes is the most important way to, the most effective way to find out not only what type of, pronation you have, but exactly where you do fit in the foot striking position. Because there are three different places. There's a forefoot striker where you'll be wearing out more at the top of the shoe, the midfoot striker, which is generally about 80% of the population landing right on the middle of their foot, and then the heel strikers, which
people breaking their bodies down.
Exactly, people slowing their bodies down more than allowing their body to keep moving with that momentum they already have.
So to give you a couple of cliff notes on what you might look for in your own body as to whether or not you need a more or less supportive shoe, there's a couple things you can take a look at. The first is your flat-footedness.
Right, and that'll be the arches in your feet. We do have several arches in your feet. Generally, the most common one is going to be on that midsole, on the middle of your body, the medial portion. We do have a couple other arches, and what they do is they reflect how springy your body is going to be.
Another thing to look at when you decide whether or not you might need a more or less supportive shoe is your weight.
Yeah, and that's something that we obviously know quite a bit about. Peter in particular is obviously not a small man. But he's quite an avid runner, so he does pick a more durable shoe, something with slightly more cushion, but then something, on our shorter runs, our faster runs, he does go for a lighter weight shoe so his body can develop its own strength naturally. So, it really does depend on what you do need when it comes to picking the right shoe. There are a lot of shoes out there and shoe technicians at various running shoe stores that do try and shape you to fit the shoe. However, it is the other way around. And when it comes to choosing which shoe that I'm going to wear on a particular day, I do look at the functions that I'll be using it for. If it's a longer run, I want something with a little bit more, a little bit more cushion as well as a little bit more support. That way, that when my body starts breaking down at the end of it, that's the way that I'm going to go with the shoe.
Your body's going to be a lot stronger when it is fresh, or especially if you've been working it out a lot, and so you could rely on your body a little bit more to take care of itself. Leading into that, let's talk about foot shape. What are people looking at when they're looking at their feet to pick a shoe that might benefit them as an average everyday runner?
Yeah, this is actually something that the shoe industry has been revolving, molding into over the last couple of years, and that is the width of people's individual feet. So historically, the shoe came in one width for every single runner. Obviously, there are people out there with narrower feet or wider feet, and now there are more options out there for those with, fatter feet for the shoes to fit them more comfortably.
And so for that, you might be looking at the overall width of the shoe, and they might all say one width, for example, D, but the different brands are going to make different widths of shoes just naturally.
Exactly. And when it comes to the different brands of shoes, they all use slightly different technologies, patented to make their shoes different from other people. Now, we are going to be reviewing shoes, obviously. We do wear different brands according, testing out to see what works best for us. And that's something we do encourage you to do as well.
Yeah, you got to try out a bunch of different stuff to really know what fits your feet. A lot of times it does come down to the shape of shoe. For me, there's really two main companies that I use because they consistently have the right shape for me.
Right. And when it comes to the support that you do need in the shoe, all the different companies do have different levels of support to determine whether you're a pronator or an overpronator or just a neutral type runner.
As always, if you have any more questions on this, leave a comment below, join the discussion, ask us what you need to ask us, and we'll be sure to respond.
Keep looking out for future videos. Please subscribe.
Wink. And then we can do a tinkle. What else we want to say? Should we say the schedule? We'll try to have. I'll mention that in a later video.
Yeah.
Try to have them out until we actually have multiples out, and we'll say. Then we can say.
As we did explain in that last video, and is it over here?
It might be somewhere around here.
It's absolutely vital to know exactly what you're going to be saying before you say it. Whatever the technology is.
Midsole?
Midsole, that's what I want.
Yeah. Welcome back.